Scrier. Scrier initially appeared in Marvel Comics as a powerful, ancient cosmic demon. This backstory was a complete fabrication. The true Scrier was a secret organization known as the Cabal of Scriers. Norman Osborn, also known as the Green Goblin, discovered this cult in Europe after he faked his own death. He joined the group and eventually seized total control. He used the myth of the ancient entity to mask his true activities. Osborn used the Scrier Cabal as a private army to systematically torment Spider-Man. They orchestrated the complex clone saga to confuse Peter Parker about his true identity. Agents of the Cabal kidnapped Peter's infant daughter, May Parker. They also faked the death of Aunt May using a genetically altered actress. Their primary goal was to destroy Peter Parker's life from the shadows while gathering intelligence for Osborn. The monster seen in the comics was usually a human agent wearing a high-tech disguise. Charles Bates was a high-ranking member who frequently posed as the main Scrier entity. He worked alongside the villain Judas Traveler to manipulate Spider-Man. The rest of the organization consisted of anonymous mercenaries, scientists, and spies like Donald Mencken. Norman Osborn served as the supreme leader and mastermind behind every operation. The Cardinals. The Cardinals serve as the elite warrior priests for the Universal Church of Truth. This massive intergalactic empire worships the Magus. The Magus is an evil version of the cosmic hero Adam Warlock who traveled to the past. He established this empire so it would be ready for his arrival. The Cardinals derive their strength from belief batteries. These technological devices collect the psychic energy of their followers. They channel this power into the Cardinals to give them superhuman abilities. These warriors act as the generals and executioners of the Church. Their primary mission is absolute conquest through religious conversion. They laid fleets to new planets and offer inhabitants a simple choice. The choice is to convert peacefully or face extermination. They also police the Church's own population. They hunt down heretics and ensure total obedience. They serve as personal bodyguards to the matriarch. She is the operational leader who rules when the Magus is away. The Cardinals are distinct from regular soldiers because they wield faith energy directly. Cardinal Raker is the most prominent member. He is a fanatical zealot who has fought the Guardians of the Galaxy. Cardinal Arakine is another high-ranking commander. The matriarch technically leads their cabal. She controls the distribution of faith energy. She can strip a cardinal of their power if they displease her. The Carnage Family. The Carnage Family originated during the Maximum Carnage storyline in Marvel Comics. The group formed when the serial killer Cletus Kasady escaped from the Ravencroft Institute. He freed a mutant villain named Shriek during his breakout. They formed a twisted romantic bond and decided to create a mockery of a traditional nuclear family. They recruited other monstrous outcasts to join them as they traveled toward New York City. The group's sole purpose was to spread chaos and commit mass murder. Unlike other villain teams that seek wealth or world domination, this cabal was motivated entirely by bloodlust and nihilism. They operated as a dysfunctional family unit to torment Spider-Man. Carnage and Shriek acted as the abusive parents who guided the violence. The other members served as their loyal but often mistreated children. Their rampage forced rival heroes and villains, such as Spider-Man and Venom, to work together to stop them. Cletus Kasady led the group as the father figure using his alien symbiote. Shriek served as the mother and used her sonic powers to manipulate emotions and incite riots. Their primary son was the Doppelganger, a mindless six-armed duplicate of Spider-Man who acted like a vicious pet. They eventually recruited the Demogoblin, a demon with religious delusions, and Carrion, a decaying villain with a touch of death. Each member added a different element of horror to their collective attacks. Celestials. The Celestials originated at the very beginning of the universe. They were created by a sentient cosmos known as the First Firmament. The First Firmament created two groups of children to keep him company. One group was the Aspirants, who remained loyal to their creator. The second group was the multicolored Celestials, who were rebellious. The Celestials wanted to create and evolve new forms of life. They fought a massive cosmic war against the First Firmament and eventually won. This victory allowed them to travel the multiverse freely. The primary purpose of the Celestials is to experiment on life and judge civilizations. They visit planets in distinct waves known as hosts. The first host usually modifies native species to create three branches: Eternals, Deviants, and a baseline population. Later hosts return to monitor the progress of these species. The fourth host arrives to render a final judgment. If they decide a planet's evolution is a failure, they destroy the population to correct the error. The Celestials consist of massive, armored beings who possess nearly infinite cosmic power. The one above all is the Supreme Leader who rarely speaks. Arishem the Judge is the field leader who decides which planets live or die. Exeter the Executioner is a colossal celestial who destroys worlds that fail Arishem's judgment. Essen the Searcher is responsible for finding new planets to test. Tiamat the Dreaming Celestial is a famous member who slept beneath the earth for thousands of years. Centurions. The Centurions originated in the negative zone under the command of the insectoid conqueror Annihilus. When Annihilus launched his campaign to destroy the positive matter universe, he first subjugated 100 different worlds within his own antimatter dimension. To consolidate his power, he demanded a tribute from each conquered planet. He selected the single strongest warrior from every world to serve him. These 100 diverse aliens were transformed into an elite unit and equipped with advanced armor powered by Annihilus's cosmic control rod. The primary purpose of the Centurions was to serve as the generals of the Annihilation Wave. While billions of mindless insect drones swarmed across the universe to devour planets, the Centurions provided the tactical intelligence needed to defeat organized resistance. They acted as governors for occupied territories and enforced Annihilus's will with brutality. They were also deployed as a Kingslayer unit, specifically tasked with hunting down powerful cosmic champions like Nova, Ronan the Accuser, and the Super Skrull. The group consisted of exactly 100 members, though most were killed during the war. Hybalia served as the field leader and was a brilliant tactician who commanded the loyalty of the other 99 warriors. Preek was a massive, rock-like alien known for his durability, and was one of the first to battle the hero Nova. Other notable members included Torrent, who could manipulate liquids, and Smite, who was killed by Ronan. The group represented the deadliest fighting force the negative zone had to offer until they were eventually defeated by the United Front. Champions. The Champions originated from a moral split within the Avengers following the Second Civil War. 3 young heroes, Ms. Marvel, Spider-Man Miles Morales, and Nova Sam Alexander, became disillusioned with their adult mentors. They watched their idols fight each other over predicting the future and ignored the collateral damage caused to ordinary people. The trio decided to quit the Avengers. They wanted to start a new movement that returned to the roots of heroism. They recruited other like-minded teenage heroes to join their cause. The purpose of the Champions is to change the world, not just avenge it. They distinguish themselves from teams like the Avengers by focusing on activism and social justice. They prioritize saving lives and helping civilians over fighting supervillains or engaging in political wars. They often address real-world issues such as human trafficking, discrimination, and clean water access. They utilize social media to broadcast their message and inspire youth culture to take action in their own communities. The founding members were Ms. Marvel, Miles Morales, and Sam Alexander. They were quickly joined by Amadeus Cho, a teenage genius who was the Hulk at the time. Vive Vision, the synthezoid daughter of the Avenger Vision, also became a core member. For a time, the time-displaced teenage version of Cyclops joined the group to prove he could be a hero. Later recruits included Riri Williams Ironheart, the new Wasp Nadia Van Dyne, and Snowguard. Champions of Lo's Angels. The Champions of Lo's Angels, often simply called the Champions, originated from a completely accidental meeting in 1975. The formation began on the UCLA campus, where the villain Pluto was attempting to force Hercules and Venus into a mythical marriage to overthrow Olympus. By sheer coincidence, several other heroes were in the area for unrelated reasons. Black Widow was applying for a teaching job, and Angel and Iceman were visiting. Ghost Rider was also passing through. They banded together to defeat Pluto and, realizing the West Coast lacked a major superhero presence, decided to stay together as an official team. The purpose of the group was to serve as the premier superhero team for the United States West Coast, filling a void left by the New York-centric Avengers and Fantastic Four. The wealthy mutant Angel, Warren Worthington III, bankrolled the operation to establish them as legitimate defenders of the common man. Despite this grounded goal, the team suffered from a lack of cohesive theme. They were a bizarre mix of spies, mutants, gods, and demons who often bickered and struggled to find a unified direction, leading to their reputation as Marvel's greatest team of misfits. The members were famously eclectic. The core roster consisted of 5 founders: the mutants Angel and Iceman, former X-Men, the demigod Hercules, the spy Black Widow, who eventually became the team leader, and the supernatural Ghost Rider Johnny Blaze. They were later joined by the Russian mutant Darkstar, who defected to the US to fight alongside them. The team also frequently worked with Black Goliath, though the group eventually disbanded due to internal friction and bankruptcy. Champions of Xandar. The Champions of Xandar originated during a desperate time for the planet Xandar. The Skrull Empire had launched a massive invasion against the Xandarian civilization. Queen Adora, the leader of Xandar, fled to Earth to seek assistance from the Fantastic Four. During this conflict, the Xandarian worldmind and the leadership activated and recruited specific superpowered individuals to serve as the planet's last line of defense. This formation created a formalized team of heroes, distinct from the standard Nova Corps police force. The purpose of the Champions was to serve as an elite strike team, capable of handling threats that regular soldiers could not. While the Nova Corps consisted of thousands of officers with standard uniforms, the Champions were unique individuals with specialized abilities. Their primary mission was to repel the Skrull invasion and protect the living computers of Xandar, which housed the collective knowledge of their culture. They later defended the planet against the cosmic villain known as the Sphinx, who sought to absorb the Worldmind's power. The Cabal consisted of Earthborn heroes and native Xandarians. Nova Richard Ryder was the most famous member and served as the team's heavy hitter. The Comet was an Earthman named Harris Moore who could fly and fire energy blasts. His son Frank Moore fought alongside him as Crimebuster. The team also included Powerhouse, a Xandarian capable of absorbing energy to increase his strength, and the Protector Thorin, who wore a suit similar to Nova's. The group briefly included Diamond Head, a villain who claimed to have reformed but eventually betrayed them to the Skrulls.